Good morning, kids. Today we're checking out an old video from Super Horror Bro Mike about a game called Helltown. Now let's find out what the story is and the endings explain.
Hey guys, Super Horror Bro Mike here, and in today's video we take a look at a story of cults, demons, and an overly inviting town hiding some dark secrets.
Yeah.
This is the story of Helltown Explained.
Please explain. Part 1, New Job.
A man finds himself alone in a misty forest. Walking forward, the man begins to feel a ghostly presence following in his footsteps. A caped figure floats behind him.
Oh, wow.
As the man reaches a small graveyard deep within the woods, he awakens to discover it was all just a bad dream. A letter on the countertop gives us a little background on this man and his occupation. His name is John Rowe, and he is to be the newly appointed postman for the St. Marianne Postal Service. More specifically, he is to work at their new division, located in the still developing town of Little Vale, a quaint, isolated community. The next morning, John drives
like it should be really nice and peaceful
out to this town to begin his new position.
That call is a straight up box.
However, he still can't quite shake the vivid nightmare he experienced the night before. The town itself seems peaceful and idyllic. The residents all wear smiles and are welcoming. Little Vale is a growing community and has only recently been built. In fact, parts of it are still under construction. From speaking with local residents, it seems many are concerned with certain things other members of their community have been saying. Most notably a vagrant who lives with his dog in the hills outside Little Vale, and a man named Neil, currently staying in the local hotel. We witness townfolk airing Neil with cautionary words, advising him to calm down and to stop spreading panic. Something feels a little off here.
Definitely.
At the heart of this sleepy town is a church. We get the sense that this is a highly religious community, and so the pastor is held in high regard by the local residents.
I think this was this game was made using the same engine and assets as Blood Wash.
After exploring the town and meeting the locals, it's time for John to carry out his postal duties and deliver the townsfolk their mail. First up, Rachel, a bubbly woman who is very happy to receive her package. A delivery of special berry tea. Next up, Patrice, who accepts a delivery of non-disclosed, pointy, pin-like objects. Finally, the pastor himself is thankful for his mail, a parcel of books which he mentions are full of invaluable knowledge. After delivering this final package, it's time to hit the hay. And so, with the first day of his job complete...
Okay, now that's a pretty damn easy job if you just got to deliver 3 things one day and then you do nothing.
John heads to the hotel to retire for the evening.
Light sleeper. Oh, hold on folks, we'll be right back. And we're back.
Once again, John awakens in the night, but this time not from a night terror. The door to his hotel room is eerily ajar, and as he heads out into the hallway to investigate why, it soon becomes apparent that not all is well. John discovers another hotel room with its door wide open. The room has been trashed, and it appears as though a struggle took place within. Catching sight of a creature in the shadows, John follows its path deeper into the hotel, where upon turning the corner, he witnesses a gruesome sight. Neil is knelt down before an open doorway, where he is then attacked by a demonic entity. As he witnesses this terrifying event, John is dragged back down the hallway and into his bed, where he is plunged into a deep sleep.
Ow, but okay.
John awakens the next day to the realization that it was all just a nightmare after all, or at least that's how it seems. The town has been swallowed up by a thick fog and looks far less welcoming than it did the day before. After experiencing such a vicious nightmare, John asks the townsfolk about Neil, but none of them recall a person by that name ever residing within Little Vale, almost as if his very existence has now been erased. The vagrant in the hills has also vanished without trace,
Oh,
only
damn
his
it.
faithful companion dog remaining, as it now runs wild through the streets.
Ah.
The
That's
townsfolk
good, at least.
also seem to be preparing for a meeting that is to happen that night. Some seem a little apprehensive of said meeting, and give off an uneasy feel. The pastor asks John if he's ever heard the story of the spider and the fly, and then proceeds to explain it to him.
Go ahead.
The spider was about to eat the fly, and so the fly begged not to be eaten. But spiders do not have ears, and so the fly was eaten anyway. After hearing this oddly chilling fable, John continues his
That doesn't really sound like a fable. That sounds more. Whoa, excuse me. So sorry. I have no idea what that was.
daily task, delivering mail to the
fable.
residents of Little Vale. First up, a soggy, smelly parcel addressed to Laura. Secondly, an unfolded piece of paper addressed to Violet, its message ominously reading, "It's dealt with."
Uh-oh.
And finally, a strange circular stone with 3 symbols carved upon it. There is no address attached to this stone,
Oh.
but it seems to glow the further outside of town John carries it. The glowing stone leads John to a cavern on the outskirts of Little Vale, and within this cave stands a tall rock formation with a hole carved into its peak. A hole just big enough to fit the symbol stone he
Perfect.
carries. As John approaches this rock, he hears whispering, and suddenly falls unconscious.
Oh, damn it. Ceremonial night? Huh.
When he wakes, John finds himself far from the cave. He is now locked within the graveyard beside the church, and must locate 3 keys to open the padlocks keeping him prisoner.
What
These
the
keys
hell?
are located on gravestones within the darkness of the graveyard. Armed with nothing but a flashlight, John investigates the area, but quickly realizes he is not alone. For in the darkness creeps and
what the
crawls
hell?
a series of demonic creatures, not of this world. If John falls prey to these bizarre entities, he is dragged to the underworld, and here must either discover a way out, or fall prey to the possessed souls stalking its dungeon-like halls.
Damn it.
The underworld seems to be a limbo between worlds, a place where the spirits of the damned are tortured and
Neil?
punished before meeting their final fate. Eventually, John collects up enough keys and manages to escape his confinement amongst the demons of the underworld,
oh,
but
God.
entering the town does little to quell his fears. Surrounding the town
Oh,
are
no.
hordes of demonic entities, perhaps the possessed bodies of the very townsfolk themselves. This town is cursed, and a terrible evil now holds control over it. John rushes
crap.
for his mail truck. It's time to leave Little Vale behind and never look back. But as he rushes to escape, a bolt of lightning strikes him down, and once again he is plunged into darkness.
Oh, damn it. The aftermath. Hold on. We'll be right back. And we're back.
John wakes beside the church and quickly realizes that things have gone from bad to worse in Little Vale.
Oh, yeah.
The town he first ventured into just 1 day prior now exists high in the sky above, and he is now stranded in an alternate dimension, a mirrored version of Little Vale. A hellscape inhabited by
shit.
monstrous entities straight from the pits of hell itself. John must avoid these nightmare creatures
Looks like something straight out of Silent Hill.
as he collects up 3 floating symbols which grant him access to the church. Once inside the confines of the church, John must navigate its creepy maze-like corridors to locate the missing head of a body chained up and blocking his exit. This made difficult by the hordes of possessed townsfolk who lurk around every corner.
Oh, damn it.
Upon locating the missing head, John notices a
There it
creepy
is.
painting of a nun cradling a demon. Keep this image in mind, as it is more important than it first appears. Upon placing the
Click.
head back on the chained body, it disintegrates and
I know, I was too late. Yeah, I should have paused when click and then put it down, but okay.
clears a path inside the church. Here, a new enemy begins to torment our hapless hero, this time in the form of a weeping angel-like statue, an entity
Oh,
only
crap.
able to move in for the attack when their prey looks away. The statue looks very similar
Ew.
to the nun in the painting we spoke about earlier. Once again, this is important to keep in mind.
It's got a troll
Eventually,
face.
John manages to escape through a door in the graveyard at the back of the church.
I don't mean troll the beast, I mean troll the internet icon.
And this leads him into a dimly lit chapel where the townsfolk are now congregated, each sat with a ghastly, contorted look on their face, their skin white as a sheet. At the front of the chapel stands the pastor, giving a sermon to his undead congregation. Upon approaching the pastor, he speaks to us one final time and says the following. At last, our final guest has arrived. Wipe that sullen look off your face. You'll be taking part in something grand. Why you? Well, the cruelly delightful truth is simply that you were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Damn it.
There is no happy ending for you, my son. Good doesn't prevail in this story. Evil has you and all the community ensnared in its crooked hands. Witness the conclusive victory of the Dark Ones. At this point, a hellish demon breaks free from inside the pastor, and the screen cuts to black. A conversation between
I wonder why he had to censor it. Was it that bad? Maybe it will not.
Detective and police officer shed some light on the aftermath. The townsfolk and pastor are found dead inside the chapel. It seems the community were poisoned. We know exactly how they were poisoned if we recall that mysterious tea that Rachel was excited to make and share with her neighbours.
There it is.
After the townsfolk were poisoned, they were sacrificed in a ritual by the pastor to the demon living within him, which then emerged upon its completion. It is then suggested this demon crushed the skull of our protagonist John. Due to the injuries sustained to both the pastor and postman, the police concluded it was most likely the work of a wild animal such as a bear. However, we know this is not the case.
No.
The whole incident was reported in a local paper, the Rockies Inquirer, where it was correctly concluded that Little Vale's population were
Look, game credits. I saw that.
religious cultists who took part in a mass slaughter. Further details were not disclosed and kept private by authorities.
Damn. Additional endings, part 6.
Now we've walked through the events one encounters during the main campaign of Helltown, it's time to deviate a little and experience the game's wealth of side content and several alternate endings. This additional material provides a clearer picture of what exactly went down in this town and the motivations behind that creepy pastor at its center. There are 3 additional endings to unlock, so let's go through each in turn.
Oh, damn it. Hold on, folks. We'll be right back. And we're back. Secret ending 1, inside the cabin.
Along the outskirts of Little Vale stands a rundown cabin. This decrepit shack gives off a strange energy, and the feeling that someone is inside looking out at whomever passes its shuttered windows. Beside the shack is a well, which is also boarded up. Both of these structures tie into the following 2 endings. In order to enter the cabin, we must locate 12 different runes. These runes give off a faint audio cue and appear as glowing symbols etched onto scraps of paper and dotted throughout each chapter.
Ah, there we go.
Once all have been collected, our protagonist John can enter the cabin where he makes a very informative discovery. The pages of a journal which once belonged to a nun called Lilith. This was her cabin, and she was in fact the nun who appeared in both the painting and statue we spoke about earlier in the video. Lilith started living in this cabin in exile after abandoning her parish and denouncing what she believed to be a false god, this taking place in the year 1892. Lilith had been lured by evil forces known as the Dark Ones, which spoke to her through the circular stone John himself received while on his mail route. Lilith began listening to the dark voices emanating from within the stone, and offering up the human sacrifices it demanded. To begin with, these consisted of villagers who ventured into the wilderness to search for her. The nun then consumed the flesh of these sacrifices, keeping her from starvation. The Dark Ones built Lilith a castle filled with their knowledge and granted her powers which allowed her to bestow her will onto living things. The final diary entry sees Lilith joining the Dark Ones and taking on their task, to find new followers, or more specifically, fresh souls to sacrifice to them.
Oh, good job
While this
then.
diary is ambiguous, this interpretation was confirmed as fact by the development team in a Steam community post when asked about the finer details of the game's plot.
Okay, there we
Years
go.
later, Lilith used her dark powers to gain control over the pastor, who then built Little Vale and nurtured a cultist community, willing to give their lives to the Dark Ones, much like Lilith had over 50 years earlier. However, unlike Lilith, these poor townsfolk weren't
She succeeded.
given anything in return, their souls simply claimed by the demons, preying upon their naivety. This secret ending also provides the only positive outcome for the main character John, where
yes.
after reading Lilith's journal, he wakes in the town and proceeds to leave. Although the game's developers have also suggested he may be stuck in a limbo and forever a prisoner of Little Vale.
Ah, crap.
So I'll leave you to form your own conclusions on this particular plot point.
Well, damn it all. Huh. Secret ending too. Acceptance.
Remember that Whispering Rock, the one with the hole at its peak? Well, this spooky formation plays a key role when trying to unlock the second of Helltown's secret endings.
Go on.
It can be found in the cave outside of the town during the first chapter, and upon interacting with it, John notes, "Is it a figment of my imagination, or is this monument whispering?" During the second day, if we return to the cave and interact with the rock a second time, John mentions how he feels it has moved since yesterday.
Oh, that'd be
The
something.
final interaction with this monument is possible during the Aftermath chapter, where it is now located behind the church. This time interacting with the Whispering Rock prompts it to instruct the player
well?
to visit the well, the very one located beside Lilith's creepy old shack. Now if we venture over to the well, we see it is opened and a bright light shines from within. Jumping inside the well then teleports John
Ow.
to an eerie castle.
Oh.
From the painting on the wall, we can tell
Oh,
that
castle. Lilith's castle. Boom. That's what the well went to. Here you go.
this is Lilith's castle,
shit.
the one spoken of in her journal, a castle built for her by the dark voices that spoke to her through the rock. As John explores this castle, Lilith speaks to him in a disembodied voice. She recites the following lines. "You have strayed far from home, my child. Why fight when there are no more battles to be won?
Always
Come
fight.
with me, I can make your sorrows go away.
Try
It
me.
will all be better soon. Come." John exits the castle and emerges above ground, a vast
Oh
lake
boy.
filled with drowned bodies of the townsfolk forming a path to an island at its centre. On this island stands Lilith, the ghostly apparition from his nightmare at the beginning of the game. She welcomes
Oh.
John into her open arms as he kneels before her and gives his soul to the beckoning gates of hell. In this ending, John succumbs to the evil inhabiting the town, unable to resist its whispering call.
Ah, well, okay. Ooh, damn it. Hold on, folks. Be right back. And we're back with the third secret ending, the rescue.
At this point, we know how the dark forces of hell worked their way into this town. First through the nun Lilith in the 1800s, and then, via the influence of her newly acquired dark powers, into the pastor, who built up a
I
cult
will say, Lilith has a pretty interesting demon design. I gotta give them props.
like community in the town of Little Vale, a twisted web of demonic worship that Postman John became entangled in, just like a fly caught in the spider's web. However, there is one rather odd final ending, which slightly elaborates on events that take place after the horrifying night at the chapel. These events take place in the underworld, but, as you may have noticed, we don't access this realm in human form, but rather as a dog. Here is how you unlock this particular ending.
Please.
During our first day at Little Vale, while playing as John, we must track down a bone found beneath this pile of rocks by the construction site and then pass it to the homeless man's dog. Then, after waking up the next day, rather than resuming control of the postman, we instead take control of said dog.
Oh,
If we
that's
lead this
interesting.
animal over to the cave where the Whispering Rock resides, then the screen begins to tremble and shake, transporting the poor pooch to the other side. The dog
crap.
awakens outside the gates of Lilith's castle in the underworld, and from here we can explore the floating limbo, slaying demonic minions with our bark, and eventually
Oh.
locating and saving our owner, held captive
Aha!
in a crystal at its core that somehow this dog is able to shatter. Here we can see just how the pastor became influenced by Lilith and the demons she vowed to serve in return for her powers. It appears that, just like Lilith, the pastor was down on his luck and during this time lost his faith in God.
Yep, it happens
We
all
then
the time.
see how key members of the community led by Violet and Bill recruited friends and neighbours to their cause, helping to set up the town of Littlevale to serve the Dark Ones. Finally, it is confirmed that the pastor and Violet both knew what their endgame would entail, the willing gifting of their souls to the Dark Lords they now sought to serve.
Bring forth the Reaper.
They were at first concerned by the arrival of the postman, but did not believe him able to stop the ritual as the Reaper had already started to awaken.
There it is.
This being the demon that emerged from the pastor and the dark entity behind everything. This ending solidifies story elements we have touched on elsewhere and gives a conclusive understanding of the game's events and more mysterious aspects of its lore.
That's good at least.
It also allows for a slightly more upbeat finale, as the faithful dog manages to save their owner and the two seemingly escape Helltown once and for all.
I mean,
And with that, we
someone got
come to the
escape
end
at
of the
least.
story explained video for Helltown. I hope you enjoyed it and found it both entertaining and informative. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more horror related content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.
Well, I have to say, I did like this. It was kind of strange and interesting, but in the end, it wasn't too bad of a game. And I'll be honest, I kind of like these games that seem to be made with very simple, crappy graphics. Something about them just feels right. Anyway, folks, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. The link will be in the description below, so remember to check out the original creator on all they do. And I'll see all of you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.